Good afternoon. I got some questions from a couple different people requesting information about grandparents' rights, so let's get into it. In Kansas, we do enforce grandparents' rights if certain circumstances can be met, including the grandparents filing for rights of visitation, not custody, but visitation, based on a significant and continuing ongoing relationship with the children, and it would serve the best interest of the children for them to continue that relationship over the objection of the parents. However, you have to remember that in this country we have very, very strict, sacrosanct laws about parentage, and if you're the parent, you get a pretty big default position from the court that what you choose for your children is in their best interest. So getting past that is no easy feat. We have been very successful in some cases in getting grandparents' rights, especially when the family is not intact or when the parents are not in agreement. However, most states will allow you to file for grandparents' rights only if the family is no longer intact. In other words, if the parents, whatever form those take, are not living together, if one of them is deceased, maybe incarcerated, or just bounced basically and isn't involved, then you've got a good case. Most of these grandparents' rights cases are based on the decease of one of the spouses, and then the other spouse is cutting off contact with the family of the deceased parent for whatever reason. Maybe mom just didn't like dad's parents, or husband A didn't like husband B's mother and doesn't want her to be involved now that husband B is no longer in the picture. So those will very often end up in grandparents' rights cases, and most of the time what you have to prove is that it's in the best interest of the children to have a relationship with their grandparents, and that relationship already existed before this was filed. One thing you have to be careful of is many statutes will require you to pay for all of the attorney's fees, not only for your attorney if you're the grandparent, but very often also the attorney fees for one or both of the parents, the guardian ad litem to represent the interests of the children, court costs, any investigation fees, and those fees can be significant. You think one lawyer is expensive? Try paying for 3 or 4 at one time. It is not cheap. However, I know lots of people will do whatever they have to ensure that they get contact with their grandchildren. And if your state allows for that, then you should seek out an attorney who specializes in grandparents' rights and get them to answer your questions. There is a lot of really good information online about whether or not your state typically enforces them. And if they don't, then you're probably better off trying to make a deal with the parents directly. Have a great day. Send me more questions.